Okay, Wednesday, 7 p.m. here on Comet Drive, Millersville, Pennsylvania, Bert's Bottle Shop. Hey, and also, it's Pick and Roll with Badge and Dell. What's going on, man?
We're back, brother. We're back.
Amazing. Week number 2, they didn't kick us out. They let us back in.
Oh, and the place is packed tonight.
As you can tell, I mean, we're kind of, in our little corner of the world, literally here at Bert's Bottle Shop. But they did a great job with us last week. They let us come back, here this week. So really anxious to see how it goes.
I think we're good. I think we're good for the next 2 months. Go to March. You, me? March?
I think so.
Is that all right?
I think so. I think.
All right. We'll just check it out.
We'll definitely check it out. But boy, a great crowd on hand, and we had a good week of basketball, didn't we?
Absolutely. We had a great week. Tell me what you did this week.
Oh my gosh, stream. We did obviously Friday night for me was Muhlenberg and Governor Mifflin. Thursday night we did we had the Columbia Mennonite game. Was great. We also had our first edition here of Pick and Roll. And, so it was a very busy week for LLhoops, and it's going to be even busier here in the upcoming days, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we got going on this week.
Well, let's see. Friday night, we both have games going on. I'm going to be doing what's turned out to be a really incredible matchup now between Mannheim Central and Lancaster Catholic girls. And at the same time, where are you going to be at?
We are going to be at LS, and we have the LS Elko game. Elko's in first place in Section 4, and LS is in first place in Section 3. LS is, I think they're the top-rated team in the district. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit, PowerPoints. And Elko's this big, strong team. So it'll be two different styles. LS got these shooters all over the place. I mean, every time we see them, they do different things. So I think they shot 15 threes or 17 threes this week. So they shoot it up. And then Elko's just the other way. They're just like pound, big, strong, little zone thrown in there. So that's what we got going as far as our live stream. And then Dell will be at the Mid-Penn LL Shootout. So hopefully, when we hit the Mid-Penn next week, I'll have a little bit of background.
Well, and then I forgot, Saturday I'll be working with my buddy Bob Long, and we'll actually be doing the rematch of the 6A championship game last year. We'll be at the Geigel Complex, and that will be Reading High and Archbishop Wood. Pretty incredible matchup there.
Yeah, I saw that. We have the link up on our website too, so everything's ready to go. We just got great basketball this week, dude.
Yeah, it's really starting to become, each week, each game now becoming very, very important, not only in the seedings of, the power rankings in the district, but the first step is a lot of these teams even making their conference tournaments, right?
Yes, yeah, and the conference tournaments, I think, are like mid-February for most. I mean, everybody has a tournament. It seems like the LL and York put a little bit more emphasis than maybe Berks and Mid-Penn, but everybody has a tournament. So we LLhoops has the rights to live stream. We're going to do the finals, and we're talking about the semifinals and the other games down the road. See how it goes.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I mean, and then we'll see what district takes us, and who knows? We might even be doing PIAA games this year, right?
Yeah, we're going to see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Well, good. And seeing how it goes, obviously this is York Adams week. We have our buddy Warren Goodling that's going to be joining us here. Warren, just kind of a fixture from over there. He's part of our broadcast team doing, LLhoops games. But, we're going to start off with the girls. We had a great visit on Sunday night, Warren and I, with Jay Rexroth from Dallastown. And they're off to a great start. They're undefeated so far, top the 6A girls ranking in District 3. And just won a big game this week. So here's our interview with Jay Rexroth from Dallastown.
The girls segment, and we've got Dallastown head coach Jay Rexroth with us, along with Warren. And Jay, it's fantastic that you join us here, kind of on late notice, on a Sunday night. Really appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. This is something that I think a lot of coaches look forward to, get a chance to sit down and talk to you guys, because you guys do such a great job of promoting high school basketball around this area.
Well, thank you. We talked a little bit. You and I had a chance to, we're kind of like two ships passing in the night. We kind of knew of each other or whatever, but that didn't really have an opportunity to meet. And I think that that's what's great about, these. I've done these, ever since we kind of got into this COVID thing. And then when you meet the coach in person, for the first time, it's like, your long lost friend, that but it becomes kind of special and what have you. And special is, the team that you got this year, you're off to a pretty good start and atop the 6A girls ranking. So talk a little bit about your team this year, not only on, how they're doing, but how they're matching up to the expectations you have for this squad going into the season.
Well, we're really happy with the way we're playing. We're doing a great job defensively. Again, we sort of live and die by how well we shoot the ball at times, because we'll guard you for sure. And when we're knocking shots down, we're really, really good. When we don't knock shots down, then as we found out against Hempfield and Central, we struggle to score a little bit there, and then we get ourselves in trouble. But we're led by Deshante Edwards, who started for us as a freshman and as a sophomore. She played in the district final as a freshman, and we won 2 county championships for freshman and sophomore year. Then 5 games into the season last year, she tore her ACL, which was a huge blow to our team, because she's sort of our do everything kind of kid. She's our point guard. She's our best defender, one of our leading rebounders. So we struggled. We made districts. We had Liv Stein and Bria Beverly were other 2 players on the team that sort of led us. Bria's at Millersville right now, so we were fortunate to have her. We ended up losing the first round districts, but we ended up 500. So we really weren't sure how long it would take for Deshante to come back and get healthy. We knew we had other pieces, kids that were going to step up and play different roles. And fortunately, Deshante is a warrior. She is, if Warren ever met her, he'd love to coach her. She's that kind of kid that she's just a magnetic personality, just a born leader, and just a worker. She wins everything we do. Every drill we do, she wins. It's just the kind of kid she is. So she worked her tail off all summer, all fall, rehabbing. And she came back to open gyms, and we weren't really sure. And by the time we got to our first scrimmage, she was back live going 5-on-5. She was probably about 85% then. And then I'd say now she's probably about 90. She's still not back to where she was before, but I'll take 90% of her any day because she's really, really a talented kid. We have another, Liv Stein is our other senior. She's our shooting guard who's now played varsity for 4 years, starting the last 2 years. And then we have a couple other kids, Trishelle Guy, Abby Jacobs, Maggie Grow. And we have a freshman, Praise Matthews, who her sister Anaya played for me 2 years ago, who's now currently at Lafayette. She originally went to Temple, and then she transferred to Lafayette now. So she has a really bright future. She plays a lot of minutes for us she's a freshman post. Again, Deshante is our leading scorer, but we have other kids that can, obviously make shots and do things to help us win. And the challenge is, we really didn't have a goal as in, like, let's be the number 1 team in the district. We really are focusing on just get better every practice and worry about the next team in front of us. And that's sort of got us where we're at right now. I rarely look at the power ratings just because it's so early. It really doesn't
it's still early
now. It's going to change so much. I'm sure if you look at it one day, and I remember last year we were trying to get into districts. It was changing by the hour. I mean, one time we were in, then we're out, then we're in, and so it's really, for a fan to look at it, it's great. For coaches, it really doesn't mean anything right now at all because I'm more worried about having a good practice tomorrow night and beating Southwestern on Tuesday. That's our focus because we are good enough to beat pretty much anybody, but if we don't play well, we're good enough to lose to anybody in our league for sure.
Warren, you got a question?
No, you're so right about the power ratings. I mean, they change by the second, and like right now, the media people love looking at that, but the coaches, they don't really like to look at it right now, as Jay said, because it doesn't mean it's going to be there tomorrow. Jay, you've been a coach for many years in York County. I always looked at you as round. Your teams knew exactly how to go about their business as far as execution goes. Very good on game planning. And how do you transfer all that you did with the boys programs into the girls program now?
As I told Bruce earlier, I really, and I don't, it shouldn't come off as an insult, I really just tell the girls, I'm going to coach you like boys. We need to play like boys. And, you know, we really stress absorbing game plans, understanding scouting reports. I have a unique ability to remember plays. I could remember plays that you ran against us, Warren, back when you were run like scissors, back screen stuff against us.
Believe me, I know that.
Yeah, it's just weird how my mind works. I'm not a good math guy, but I can remember plays. So we do a lot of like verbal cues. For me, I'll see a call and I'll be yelling just a verbal cue, like, you know, it's going to be, you know, flare, 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 or this or that. And our girls do a good job of understanding. They don't need to memorize the plays. That's not their job. They just need to memorize this is what they're trying to get out of it, and so we can take it away. And I just feel it's a huge advantage to give your defender that 1 second head start on what the play is going to be, so they're not surprised. Again, if you came and saw us practice in 1999 and come see us practice, you know, tomorrow, it would look very, very similar. A lot of the same drills and just the expectation of this is how we're going to guard people. This is what we're going to do. And this is how we need to execute. So that's translated over.
And that's the thing of beauty, the way you do go about things, and you can see how your team plays. I could tell you that because of what you know in calls and recognizing calls, when I coached against you, we went to hand signals like the third base coach, thanks to Tommy Herr, says, we need to do hand signals like the third base coach when we played J. Rexroth. So we had to practice hand signals for certain calls, like touch the nose, hit the ear.
That's a win for us, then.
Thank you for that.
That's good that you had to spend extra time in practice doing that. That helped us, for sure.
But your teams are always teams are so fundamentally sound, and they play the right way. It's just fun watching.
Well, thank you very much, Warren. I appreciate that. Coming from a legendary coach like you, that means a lot to me, for sure.
Yeah, you know, and that's what's great about talking to, you know, both of you gentlemen is that I mean, I absorb so much just by listening you guys talk. I'm not, look, I played the game or whatever like that a long time ago in a place far, far away called, I grew up in Indiana, so, you know, high school basketball, you know, was huge. But talk a little bit about, you know, how the game has changed from the time that you started coaching until, you know, now.
Well, all the way back when I started, I became the boys varsity coach in 1993. There was not even a word of AAU back then, that we never even heard of that. And I would say probably not until 2099, 2001 was the first that we really even had any kind of AAU opportunities for kids in York County. Bobby Russo and Bill Ackerman had sort of ran something through. I don't even remember what that place was called up in North York. They sort of started an AAU, and a couple kids, Jonas Lau, Kenny Foss, got to play. That's the first that they ever had it. Now it is become everything is so much oriented towards AAU, and the recruiting is so much towards AAU. Back then, you know, we didn't have to worry about missing, you know, AAU game or missing a tournament that you're going to be noticed at. Now it's huge. And Warren could probably say the same. Back then, you were the only voice. Now you're one of many voices. And there are some really good AAU programs, but there are some really bad AAU programs. And basically what has happened is parents of kids that are less talented, that can't make a good AAU team, just decide they're going to start their own AAU team. We're going to find a bunch of kids that are average players. We're saying, hey, they're playing AAU. You know, whatever that is, they're playing in any tournament. But There are some really good AAU programs around, but again, there are some really bad. And then, unfortunately, parents buy into that, and they're getting bad advice from people that really aren't qualified to give them advice on where they should go with their kids' game. So,
wow, that's pretty provocative stuff there. That the growth of AAU, and that's the first time that I really heard that as from a coach, as far as the difference in the game is not necessarily the game, but who's influencing the game. Is that basically what you're saying?
I do. I mean, because back early in part of my coaching career, probably you were the only voice. Your voice, the way we did things, the way you practiced, the way we played defense, what we did on offense, the way you shot the ball. We were the only voice. And now, again, with AAU starting all the way down into third and fourth grade, you may have a varsity player that's been coached by 70 different people in their career until they get to you. It's just different. And I'm not knocking AAU, because there are good AAU programs, and they do a lot of good things for kids to get noticed in recruiting. And I get it, where college coaches, they want to do a one-stop shop. They want to go to the Nook and see a blue chip tournament. And if they're looking for a point guard, they're going to see 10 kids they can look all one weekend. They'll see those 10 kids play, versus driving to Dallastown, driving to Hempfield, driving to Berks to see kids all around. They don't have time to do that. So it's sort of like that one-stop shop where they can find their kids. Again, it makes sense for them, but sometimes it's can be, not such a good thing for coaches at times, especially high school coaches, to deal with the outside influence of people. And not everybody there is really there for the right reasons and whatnot. So,
well, Warren, a final question there for Jay.
Yeah, Jay, talk about the York County area, York Adams League tournament for the girls. How is that set up?
Well, we'll have
always the semifinal games. Just go through that, because I think it's a really good tournament.
It is. They do a great job. It'll basically be the top 3 teams in Division I, the top 3 teams in Division II, and then the top 2 teams in Division III. And then you match up crossover, and you have your quarters, your semis, and obviously the finals. And this will be the first year that they're actually holding the semis and the finals at York Votech. They built a brand new gym there. Normally the finals would be held at York College, but York College redid their floor this summer, and they didn't put a high school 3-point line down. They have a college college, so you can't hold the games there. So fortunately, Votech is modeled similar to York College's gym. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it's phenomenal. And they're going to hold the semis and the finals there, which makes sense. That because I know in the past we've had a couple semifinal games where we got to play at Dallastown, which really isn't fair to the other teams that we're playing at home. It's just the luck of the draw the way it came down. And I think by having the semis and the finals at York Tech, it'll be a great atmosphere for everybody. Plus, it'll be a level playing field. Our league tournament is going to be crazy, though. I mean, there's some really good teams in all 3 divisions. You have obviously Redline, Central, us, Spring Grove, all in the hunt in Division I. Eastern, Gettysburg, West York, Suburban sort of still hanging around. And then you have DeLone, who's loaded, and Bermudian Springs, who's very, very good as well. I wouldn't want to pick a winner out of all those teams, because it's going to be wide open. I don't think anybody's super dominant this year as like one team's supposed to win it. I think any of the teams I just mentioned could get in it and make a run and win the thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. When you talk about that, and what you did is you jogged my mind too about how great the girls programs are in your area. And not just in the upper classifications. I mean, with DeLone and everything else. I mean, that's a really good tournament there.
It is. It's some very talented teams for sure.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for giving us a bit of time on short notice here on a Sunday night. It's kind of getting snowy and stuff like that out there, so we're all kind of hunkering down. But, Jay, I tell you what, thank you so much. It's great to finally meet you, and it'll be actually – hopefully I can shake your hand, at courtside at the Giants Center, playing for a district championship or whatever like that. But we definitely got to get together, and I definitely got to get out and do one of your games. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you here, and we appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much, Bruce, and I appreciate having me on and everything you guys do. Warren, it's good to see you. I'll tell John to take it easy a little bit.
Yeah, and good luck, man. We root for you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you.
All right, we're back here at Bert's Bottle Shop, hopefully. There we go. Now we're back. Sorry about that, Warren.
Good.
Go through the interview there, maybe touch, a bad button here or there. But I'm joined here by Warren Goodling. You just saw him on, our interview there. We had an opportunity to talk with Jay Rexroth there. Jay had some pretty interesting things to say, didn't he?
Yeah, Jay's been around York County basketball a long time, and he's one of the top guys in basketball in any level over there, and he's done a great job with the boys and the girls program. Really knows his X and O, loves the game, and is a very good communicator. So not surprised to see Jay's team up there near the top of actually at the top of the power ratings right now.
Yeah, they are. And since you brought it up, why don't we just talk about, the girls' power rankings, starting with, Christian School of York and Lancaster Country Christian, even though they're 2 and 3 in the A rankings, went 3-0 last week. That's a great week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
You as a coach, do you kind of take it a week at a time? Through the season, obviously one game at a time, but professional football, they break it down in quarters. Do you kind of break it out week by week?
Yeah, you sort of look at like Sunday. You sort of sit there and go, all right, we got 3 games this week, or we got 2 games this week, and then you sort of in your mind try to figure out how you're going to navigate the 2-game or the 3-game stretch. How long you're going to do practices, when you're going to cut back on practices, when you could give your kids a day off, things like that. So you're always thinking in those lines.
And in 2A, Columbia still on top, but they've got a pivotal game with Lancaster Country Day, on Thursday. That's going to be really interesting. A couple of conference fulls, right?
It's very interesting to see both the Columbia boys and girls with the 0 behind in that loss column.
That's pretty crazy. In 3A, Brandywine Heights, they had 2 losses this week. One of them to 4A Schuylkill Valley, who's having a good season. There's going to be, 6 teams come out of 3A there, so that's going to be quite a dogfight for those, other spots, isn't it?
You usually look at Trinity and think that they'll emerge somehow down there. York Catholic has had a really good program. You always think they're going to emerge too, but it'd be interesting to see how it does shake out.
And in 4A, DeLone Catholic on top, followed by Eastern York. Both of them were undefeated here. The very interesting thing I think about 4A is all of the top teams really don't play one another. They're going to go through their conference schedule. A lot of times you get, a lot of these teams and they play one another during a conference schedule, but you've got everybody in different sections. You got everybody in different leagues. So it's really going to come down to the power rankings as to really the pecking order, isn't it?
Yeah, and then when they get to play, you'll see who the cream will rise. You'll see which team will emerge on there. But you got to keep your eye on Lancaster Catholic because of their tradition. And even though they're 6th in the power rating, they're still going to be one of the favorites when it comes to districts.
Yeah, 10 teams make it from 4A. In 5A, wow, Gettysburg, they lost to West York here this week, but they still are on top. And a big matchup. I talked about it a little bit earlier. The fact that number 2 Manheim Central is going up against Lancaster Catholic on Friday here, right on LLhoops. That's really turned into quite a battle, and especially considering there's much more that goes into that. Forgetting about the power rankings here, this is seedings related to the LL tournament, right?
Exactly, yeah. And that's the main focus right now for most of the teams in the LL League is to get in that LL League tournament, and the districts will take care of itself. But in the 5A girls, you look at West York and York Suburban and Gettysburg and Northeastern all being in the same conference over there. So they play each other twice, so that'll shake up some things over there.
Yeah, that will. That'll all shake out, I believe. And it's 6A. It's very interesting. Gosh, we were talking to Jay. I think he's, the old golf expression, sandbagging a little bit. I know that, his losses, he talked about the fact that they were for, to Hempfield and Central York. And he was a little bit, surprised at the fact that, they had some poor shooting nights.
Yeah.
But one of the things, and as a coach, defense travels, okay?
Yeah.
Defense is what you really need to have, going into, postseason play. And Jay talked about the fact his team is very good on defense, isn't it?
Normally in postseason play, boys and girls, the defense is cranked up a little bit, and sometimes the games get a little ugly because the defense intensity is so high. But you look at the girls 6A, and you got Downtown Redline and Central all in that York County Division I playing each other twice. So that makes them for interesting matchups.
Yeah, it is going to be some interesting matchups. And, we have the ability to, talk about all these interesting matchups thanks to, great sponsors. We want to thank Win Marketing. They've just been such an enormous supporter of LLhoops and our streaming here this year. Win Marketing. Businesses, if you're looking to someone to have strategic marketing programs, if you want to empower somebody to grow your business, you need to contact Win Marketing. And we want to thank them for their support. And we also want to thank our friends at R.E. Cuba Roofing and Siding, York County group who's stepped up here to support this broadcast with our York Adams coaches in the fold here. We want to thank them very much. Also, we want to thank the Big 60. They've done a great job for us in supporting all LLhoops programs. My Jersey Designs. In 2019, a high school basketball coach wanted to frame the jerseys of his senior players for gifts at the end of a season. The coach was required to purchase a replacement jersey for the team set, and professional framing of the jersey cost hundreds of dollars. In this process, the coach realized he wanted his jersey framed from his playing days, but it was never given to him and gone forever. Now with today's technology, isn't there a cost-effective way to recreate the likeness of a jersey? There is, and My Jersey was born. All 24-inch by 36-inch professionally framed pictures can be shipped to your front door. Any jersey for any sport. The standard My Jersey costs $250, but well worth it for that type of memory. Remember, My Jersey. We want to thank our friends at Spooky Nook. They've supported not only LLhoops, but such a fixture here in the LL area on basketball, on teaching, on individual lessons. Thank you so very much to Nook Basketball. And we want to thank all of our LLhoops sponsors, including Dan Taylor, HL Team Sales, and Stephen Lewis. All right, Warren. I mean, how great are those sponsors? I mean, awesome. We didn't have an opportunity, we wouldn't have an opportunity to stand here, and these people wouldn't have the opportunity to look at our ugly mugs if it weren't for all those great sponsors. So thank you very much. And we want to thank especially Burke's Bottle Shop. They're hosting our programming here. And Burt's is your one-stop shop for unique premium beers and food located in Millersville. We feature many events such as Music Bingo Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30. Could you imagine doing one of these shows during Music Bingo? I don't know if we could ever do that. Come in and browse the selection of 16 taps and 350 beers, ciders, and ales. Burt's Bottle Shop has the largest Belgian draft selection in Lancaster County, and bottled beers imported directly from Belgium. How about that?
How about that?
Pretty incredible. So anyway, we were very busy on Sunday, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
We talked to another coach, one who's near and dear to your heart, right? Garrett Bull. Tell us a little bit about Garrett and why you've got the connection.
Well, Garrett Bull played at Redline High School, and he played on a very successful team, coached by Parrish Petrie, who was a West York graduate in 1981. And when I coached at Northeastern in 1981, Parrish was on the West York team, so I went against him as a coach, and then I went to Shippensburg as an assistant coach, and Parrish was on the team at Shippensburg. So anyways, Garrett Bull is connected to Parrish Petrie because he played for Coach Petrie. He learned a lot of basketball from Coach Petrie, and when I got the job in Hempfield, Coach Petrie was my first JV coach at Hempfield. So I knew all his players at Redline. It was awesome. So then when Garrett got the West York job, he gets a lot of advice from Coach Parrish Petrie. Believe me. I don't give him too much advice, but Coach Parrish Petrie does.
But isn't he the coach of your alma mater now?
Yeah, because I went to West York, graduated a long time ago, and he always invites me back to the alumni game. So that's a good thing.
Well, Garrett was very engaging. West York, a very good season so far. So here's our interview with Garrett Bull of West York.
Coach's Corner time. We've got Garrett Bull, the head coach of the West York Bulldogs, right? You got your swag on there tonight, Coach? Got the Bulldogs?
My Bulldogs sweatshirt on here tonight, ready to go.
And along with that, one of our own here on LLhoops, Warren Goodling, who is a West York alum, right there, Warren?
Yep, West York, class of 70.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I really dating ourselves there. But Garrett, you're off to a great start here to the season. Only one loss, really. Up there in the top of the power rankings going into the conference schedule. Talk a little bit about your team and your expectations going into the season and how your team is kind of matching up to the expectations you had for these guys.
I definitely thought we had a team that could compete for championships this year. The pieces are there. We have a nice mix of seniors, a couple of juniors and sophomores that are playing. We have good mix of guards and big men. We're not really lacking at any of those positions that you need to be successful. And to be honest, they're exceeding my expectations so far this year. When we create our goals at the beginning of the season, starting the year 11-0 was not on the goal list. It was just kind of a byproduct of playing good basketball. So, every day is a joy to go to practice. They work hard. I think we've had 28 practices. I think we've only had one so practice all year long. So guys buy into working hard and what the coaches are preaching. And I've been with these guys since I got the job. The seniors were in 7th grade when I got the job. I first met the junior class at the end of their 5th grade year. But watching them play basketball and working with them for a long time. So I think it's finally, it's all coming together the right way for sure.
Warren, you have a question for Coach there? You still there? He is.
Yeah, I just think, okay, this year's team is really a byproduct of your program, Garrett, okay, from when you started there. It's just a byproduct of what's happening, and right. It looks like you'll be able to continue this going in next year. So what kind of leadership have the seniors given you this year?
Man, it really starts in the off season. These guys came to every workout. AJ Williams, Jaden Walker, Javar Powell. There are 3 captains, but they're at every single workout from spring. They do AAU, and then but summer, unless they were on their little beach trip maybe they took, but they're at everything. And I learned from you a couple of years ago. I put it on them in the summertime to make sure their teammates were coming to summer league games, and I'd text those guys and say, how many guys do we have for tonight? So it starts to create some accountability for them and providing that leadership. And you certainly see it. We've had a couple tight games this year, and the seniors have been kind of the ones that are drag you through those tight games. And that's what seniors are supposed to do. They're supposed to step up into tight games and lead you to a victory.
Yeah. Is it somewhat unique in the fact that, you're the head coach of West York, but yet you teach at another, conference school. Does
Yeah.
that present any unique challenges?
Might if we see him in playoffs this year. Redline's having a nice season. It's my alma mater. It's where I teach. I know a lot of their players. But it's actually pretty fun in school when they're doing well and we're doing well, talking to the guys about their games, and they're in Division I. So, we don't see each other throughout the year, but it's kind of nice at the same time for me to leave that building where I teach and go somewhere else. And when I enter the gym and I see my guys, it's only about basketball. Obviously I stay up on their grades and academics, and that's important, but I don't kind of see the other stuff that maybe they do in school that they don't want me to see. Holding hands with their girlfriend or whatever. It's just basketball when I get over to West York.
Yeah. Coach, you got a question for Garrett?
Garrett, talk about your background, okay, your high school experience at Redline and how that transfers to you being a coach.
Well, I played for Parrish Petrie, was a legend as a coach and another West York grad. So I look at my coaching tree. It really starts with him. And then over the years, it's bounced to guys like you and Marty Hassenfuss, Bill Ackerman, but playing for Parrish, we just played motion offense, played man-to-man defense. And that's what, is kind of the core of our foundation and our principles at West York. Obviously we'll put some wrinkles in and, if we think we need to play zone to win a game, but I learned all that and how important fundamentals are from Petrie very, very early on.
One of the questions that we ask a lot of these coaches is, how do you adjust your, teaching and coaching to try and get your team, you've gone from a preseason schedule, now you're getting into a conference schedule, and ultimately have these guys peak when they head into the postseason. So are there any, I don't want to obviously have you divulge the recipe to the secret sauce, but
I don't know if I know it yet. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, talk a little bit about, in your mind, how you go through that progression.
Yeah, I mean, certainly every game's different, and league games become a little more important than your non-league games. But we just talked about it this week when we took our first loss. We weren't going to go undefeated, but we want to play our best basketball in February. So we've been talking about that, getting back up off the ground, getting up, back on the horse after getting knocked down this week, and taking another step forward, one baby step forward. And I like to think we haven't peaked. I really don't think we've met our true potential yet, and I don't think a number of guys have reached their ceilings yet. So, one thing I learned early on in coaching that I probably didn't realize as much as a player is how important it is for the coach to kind of psychologically manipulate and motivate his guys and his team. My first 3 years at West York, I kind of just thought guys motivated themselves. I thought I was kind of a self-motivated player. And over the years, I've really learned to kind of find ways to motivate them without them realizing, what I'm doing. I'm putting things, in their head the day before the game, not just in the locker room before we take the court. That is, trying to motivate them each game and take that next step forward for sure. And when I look back on it now, I think about all the things Coach Petrie said, when in practices, and I was like, wow, he was manipulating us, and I didn't even know it was happening. So that, I think that's good coaching if you can figure out how to do that.
Warren, you got a question?
Yeah, just, it's a team effort when you put together a program, and then when you start having success, I mean, there's a lot of people involved. So talk about some of your assistant coaches.
Yeah, sure. Nathan Markey is my JV coach. He's got college experience, played at Central York, great program there, played for Coach Sheeler. So, he's phenomenal. Both him and I were watching tape today, building our scouting report. Christian Wagman is my assistant coach. He mostly focuses at the varsity level with us. He came over after Kevin Sheeler stepped down at Central. And I give Christian a lot of credit. He's made me a better coach just by me learning some things that, that Kevin would do over at Central. But we were at team camp this summer. It was the last night we were there at Alvernia team camp. And Christian said to me, I want to talk about this upcoming season with you tonight after the games are done. So I said, all right. I thought it was going to be like a 15-minute conversation. And, we were up to like 4 a.m. in the morning, talking basketball. And he challenged me. He said, I'm going to challenge you. And his challenge for me was to give our guys this year more mentally for the game than we've had in the past, because we finally thought we had the right mix of guys that were ready. So we've done scouting reports for every single game this year and given it to them the day before, which is not something I'd always done in the past. I always had my own scouting report and would give guys the information I kind of thought they needed. But Coach Wagman wanted me to step it up, and we have as a staff, and our guys are absorbing it. They're just like taking it all in when we give them these scouting reports, and you can see them growing, just because of that. So I think my assistant coaches are phenomenal, with that when it comes to stuff like that, preparation for these games.
Sure sounds like, there's been obviously a shift more in, putting the accountability on obviously your seniors and your coaches. And gosh, look what's happened. I mean, look at what great success you've had, this year. Obviously, just what you talked about. This whole team and this whole program now look like it has, your imprint on it. How satisfying is it for you to, have that, since this is your own program now, and now having such good success early on in this season?
I mean, winning feels good. Winning feels a lot better than losing. Coach Goodling and I always talk about that. But I'm happy for these guys. I'm happy for the seniors. I'm happy for our team. It's not about me at all by any means. But I enjoy coaching them because I think we play good basketball. I'm not sitting on the sidelines pulling out my hair in frustration or, questioning the shot selection. Our guys take good shots. They play unselfish basketball. They play defense as a team. And when they do that, it makes coaching that much more enjoyable and rewarding. So, if that's a byproduct of, 6 years now, that's what it is. And hopefully you get to that point and you just keep rolling. Our JV team's solid. Our youth teams are solid. Our junior high teams are winning. And, I'm enjoying that ride for sure.
Warren, you have a final question for Coach?
No, just a couple of things real quick. But when I watch your team, Gary, your team seems to really communicate on defense. Yeah. They're pointing fingers. A lot of teams, they were playing together well on offense, but I think your team plays very well on defense together.
Yeah, I'll give Coach Wagman a lot of credit for that too. I mean, when he came over, he was on me. He's like, we got to do shell drill every day. I was like, every day? He said, yeah, and we got to get them talking in shell drill every day. And I said, okay, let's do it. So we started that last year. But not that we didn't do shell before. We certainly did shell defense before. But we do it pretty regularly now, even if it's only for 8 minutes, just to refresh and stuff. But as far as the communication aspect, we talk about it a lot of times. And I know a lot of coaches do. But I remember being over last, I guess it was 2 years ago, we were playing in the War of the Roses, I think it was, at Conestoga Valley. And we lost the first game. We lost our game to, I can't remember who it was, but they were good. And then Central came in after us and played Conestoga Valley, I think. And there was nobody in the gym on like this Saturday morning. And we're about ready to leave the gym and get on the bus. And my assistant coach said, you got to come back in here and listen to Central talk right now on defense. I walked back in, and it was amazing just to hear their team talking, on the 5 guys on the court, the bench talking. So as soon as that game was over that night, I called Kevin Sheeler at Central, and I said, how do you get your guys to talk so much, And then he gave me some pointers, and that was when I think that was his last year at Central. One of the things he talked about is when we do shell defense, sometimes we play music, and I crank the music up as loud as it possibly goes in the gym, and I make our guys talk over the music. So we do that, we do that now. And Coach Wagman brought some of that with him from Central.
Awesome. Very good.
That's really good. Listen, Garrett, thank you very much for some time here. We record this on a Sunday night, so you'll have a game or two in this week before we broadcast this on Wednesday. But look, I've got my eye on you here. You're at the top of the power rankings this season. Really anxious to follow your progress, and hopefully I'll get an opportunity to shake your hand at the Giants Center.
That'd be great.
You know, come March or February when we have the championships.
That would be certainly amazing. And thanks for having me on. It feels pretty special to be on LLhoops. You know, and a York guy over here. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, good. Well, listen, thank you very much, and have a pleasant evening, guys. All right.
Thanks.
All right.
And we're back. How about that? I mean, you know, Garrett was very entertaining to talk to. You know, he wasn't shy about the fact that he's still growing as a coach, right?
I think you always are, and like, you know, he's done a great job at West York. I mean, Bill Ackerman was awesome there for a while. Then there was a little transition period, and now Garrett Bull has put his stamp on the program.
Well, just an enormous amount of fun talking to him, you know, on Sunday night. And so now we have a little bit of time left here to talk about the boys' power rankings, which are just as much fun as the girls are, really, quite honestly, Coach. I mean, the A bracket, I mean, really a star-studded lineup. You only have a team with 2 losses down to number 4 there, New Covenant Christian School. 2 undefeated schools. I mean, that's really good. And the nice part is that 8 teams make it, you know, in 1A. So there's going to be a good group there.
There'll be some interesting games in that level because some of those schools know each other, but some don't. And they'll get to play each other for the first time.
Yeah. In 2A, Antietam, DeLone Catholic, Lancaster Mennonite. I tell you what, you know, we've seen Mennonite a couple times. At least I've seen them a couple times.
Yeah.
And, you know, against teams like Berks Catholic and Columbia, I mean,
they're better than their record because
absolutely.
They play a really good non-league schedule. With being in Section 5, they have to go out and get non-league games, and they've gone out and gotten a lot of good games that will prepare them for districts and states.
Correct. And, I mean, 6 teams make it, so really everybody down to Fairfield right now would be in. In 3A, Columbia, you know, I mean, what can we say? Talk a little bit about Columbia. I mean, you've seen them a couple times now. I mean, talk a little bit about those guys.
Well, the first thing that jumps out on you is how fast they are. Not just one guy, the whole team is fast. And last night when I watched them against Trinity, a very well-coached Trinity team, they just jumped on Trinity to make it 28-10 in the first quarter, and then Coach Kostelek figured out how he could get the game a little bit closer, and Trinity gave them some game pressure, but whenever Columbia needed a bucket, they just found a way to get a deflection and a fast break for an easy bucket. So they had some good game pressure on them last night, and they did a good job. Columbia did a good job down the stretch managing that game.
Yeah, I tell you what, totally impressive with Columbia. 6 teams make it there in 3A. Right now, all the way down to, you know, Kutztown gets in, and so it's really going to be a dogfight, I think, for those final 2 spots. What do you think?
It always is, and no matter what classification you're in, the coaches look at this every day. They try not to get too obsessed about it because they know if they win, they can take care of their own business. But sometimes you need a little help. Sometimes it's amazing what a little help can do for you in here. But you have to win the games. But it's now time they look at the power ratings.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're doing this here, too. We're probably not doing much different than what the coaches and the coaching staffs are doing. In 4A, Berks Catholic at 12-2, Middletown undefeated. I tell you what, Berks Catholic actually plays in the Section 1 of the Berks League. I mean, they really have a minefield to go through here coming down the stretch. And Middletown, wow, what can you say? Undefeated so far.
Well, Middletown had a really nice team last year, and they followed up with another great team this year. So they're getting primed, ready to go. Elko, they're pretty good too. We'll see them on Friday night. And Eastern York has a nice team, and I saw Trinity last night. And don't take Trinity lightly because Coach Kostelek has had his team in many big games.
Yeah, I mean, you know, talk a little bit about, you know, obviously you were a coach for a long time. Talk a little bit about how, you know, experience can be, you know, so important this time of year, and not only getting a feel for your team, but, you know, planning for the long term here.
Well, I think when you have a number of years under your belt as a coach, you always look back and reflect back on what are some things that worked and what didn't work, and what we did well and what we had trouble with. And I think most of the time you try to figure out what you had trouble with, you try to get better at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be extremely important down the stretch, especially here. In 5A, LS, I mean, did you see this coming? Did you see this coming out of LS that they would have, developing into this kind of season?
Well, we saw them early in the year. We saw them against Manheim Central, and what impressed me about LS is they play totally as a team. I mean, they have a good scorer in Burton, but he gives the ball up to the open guys, and they throw the ball to him and get him open. So it seems to be a really good team effort, not just offensively, but defensively too. The team talks. Coach Berryman does a great job. He has background being from those good old York Catholic days when they were powerhouse over there in basketball. So they've done a great job of establishing their program as being one of the top programs around.
Yeah, and West York, I mean, Garrett, I mean, it's pretty clear they've pretty well established himself as at least going to get a first round district home game.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things as we were talking about the big difference between the district now and when you were coaching. You just talked about the fact you coached, you never had a home game.
No, you always played at a neutral site, which it was sort of exciting to go to your first district game to a neutral site, and if you won the first game, you played at Hershey on Saturday. That was a neutral site, but that was a lot of fun. Now you have the benefit of having a high power rating. You have the benefit of playing a number of games at home. Okay, so and some teams that will enter the playoffs and they'll never have a home game. So there's a big advantage, I think, to get a high power rating. But
Yeah.
looking at the 5A, boy, there's some teams that are really going to be dangerous in 5A. When you look at what Elizabethtown and some of the wins that they've had recently. Hershey is always good. I saw Palmyra early in the season, and they really have a good plan. They have a plan when they play, and they play together, and they have some good shooters. Lower Dolphins has been there recently. Manheim Central's made a move. I'm going to miss somebody, but Northeastern has some good players. And Donegal now is actually in the LL League. Donegal is moving up. They've won some games. They play good defense. And I see they're 14th in the power rating, so
yeah,
5A is going to be interesting.
That's going to be quite the minefield here. 16 teams get in, so I think that's probably the right number. You and I at Dell were talking a little bit here about we felt that maybe the 6A deserved to have more than 12 teams. I mean, you look at it and. Gosh, Cedar Cliff just had a big win, over Chambersburg here. Our buddy Ty there. I mean, a big win. But Reading on top, where I think we expected them. But how do you see the 6A kind of shaking out down the stretch?
Well, it's hard to say because there's a lot of games. Like for example, Saturday Central Dauphin plays Hempfield. Central Dauphin's 3 right now. Hempfield's 4. So that's going to impact that game and. Of course, Reading, they play a great non-league schedule. They'll go out and play anybody.
Yeah, Archbishop Wood, I'll be at that game, broadcasting that game on Saturday. I mean, that's a 6A rematch from last year of the championship game.
And 6A, what you find is, like, you might be 6 one day, and the next day you could be 11, and you're saying, how are we going to hang in there? And then if you're like, 14, 15, and 16, you need a couple wins, and you need to hope some people above. But it gets interesting when it gets down to that level. But the first 4 get a first round bye, which is nice for that. Then they get home games until the final.
Well, that's pretty incredible. We want to thank our new sponsor here, RE Cuba Roofing and Siding and Construction from York County there. We really appreciate their support. RE Cuba specializes in your insurance needs, your one-stop shop for roofing, siding, gutter, and home improvement services. Serving York and the surrounding counties, RE Cuba Construction. So my buddy Jell has joined me back here. God, we've been doing a lot of moving and shaking here. Multiple guests, multiple interviews. What do you think of the show so far?
I think it's good. What do you think?
I'm having fun. I mean, hopefully it doesn't really much matter, what about you and I. we hope that the fans are enjoying it. I mean, you know, that this is a way to kind of give the fans some type of an idea on, you know, putting our finger on the pulse of District 3 basketball, and that's what we're here to do, right?
Well, you know what's good besides the show is we get to focus on different areas, which is, we usually don't do that. I mean, we're so regional. It's like NCAA basketball. We're regional. We kind of know this area or that area. And then we're kind of expanding, and we get to know York County, we get to know Berks County, we get to know Mid-Penn, we get to know LL, which, you know, we're all about. So, you know.
And the multiple classifications too.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, you know, we're giving the due to all of the classifications. I mean, you know, 1A all the way up to 6A, right?
Yeah. You know what I like?
What's that? Yeah,
Swag, man.
I love
You
the
guys got
swag.
the swag.
Well, who gave me this?
I don't know,
think
man,
you
but
did.
It's cool.
You did.
It's cool. We got Warren. We got you dressed up. Me dressed up. Got a big old banner just in case nobody knows who we are.
Yeah, we even got a logo on the screen too. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But you know, we got another great show in the books. I mean, we'll be back again, you know, next Wednesday from you know, our Bert's Bottle Shop or what have you. I mean,
next Wednesday we're gonna do a giveaway next Wednesday.
Okay.
We're gonna have a T-shirt raffle for anybody that's left here at 8 o'clock. And I do want to let's just hit a little bit on this Mid-Penn LL.
Okay. Yeah.
So I pulled it up on the website here real quick, and the games are at Doe Run Elementary in Manheim Central. They're doing their gym. So they're going to an elementary. It's a smaller facility, but I've talked to their coach, and it's a really good gym. So they're asking people, if they do go to the games, to leave after their team plays so they can keep cycling. So they haven't limited the number, but they will be limiting at the desk. But I will be there. So I'm excited to watch these games. So let's just go over the games real quick.
Sure.
I got Middletown and Penn Manor kick it off at noon. McDevitt at Cedar Crest. McDevitt plays Cedar Crest. And then we have Northern and Ephrata. They're at 3 o'clock. 4:30, Lower Dolphin. It was always a tough out. Won the districts last year. They play Warwick, and Warwick, we know, we've had them on live stream a couple times. They're pretty good. Central Dolphin Hempfield, which battle the big boys, and that's good. And then to wrap things up, we have our guy Ty Sabercool and Fisher. So I'm gonna take my camera. Is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take pictures of those guys. I have my big camera. I'll be clicking away, and those guys really get into it. If anybody has seen those guys coach, I mean, they're so enthusiastic. They're so positive, and they do a heck of a job with their teams.
Well, they're just as entertaining, I guess, as a coach as, you know, the game itself, which, you know, I think that's important. I think that basketball, whether it be on the high school or the college level, the coach has a lot to do, you know, with that. I mean, in being the figurehead, in providing that energy and enthusiasm, right?
I mean, you've seen it in Berks County with Muhlenberg. I mean, we get a different coach, and all of a sudden they're at a different level, you know? So, yeah, coaching's important. Coach Gilling will tell you that. And talent's important too.
Yeah, well, you can never forget, you know, talent. I mean, you can be the best coach in the world, but if you got a bunch of, you know, 5'6" guys running around, you're not going to do much.
What do we got next week?
Well, next week we'll be focusing on Mid-Penn.
And who's our guest?
That's a good question. I mean, we're still to be determined, right?
We have one.
Okay.
We have one lined up. We got Mike Gross coming in, and he's going to talk about the all-state selection. He's in charge of that.
Okay.
He used to be our friend Mike Bullock, and Mike Gross has taken over the reins, and we got to get into it, how he does that. And I know LLhoops gets a vote, so we're kind of excited to be part of that. So that's one, and we're trying to line up somebody else too. So that'll be a surprise.
Good.
We'll
and then, you know, we'll have our coaches interviews as well, which we'll get that out there. We'll have it, you know, try and get somebody together on a Sunday night, and then we record those and, you know, play them back here on the show here on Wednesday, which has really turned out to be, you know, a lot of fun. Like I was talking about, I mean, Wednesdays turn into my, you know, best day of the week.
That's what you said. It's your favorite day.
Well, it is because of this. I mean,
exactly.
Where we can sit here, we get the expertise of guys like Warren, like yourself. Never sell yourself short. I mean, with all the years of coaching that you've done and all the teams that you see, the great insight that you're providing on District 3, not only on the boys' side, but the girls' side, man. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I know Coach and I, we always talk before our live stream games. We always go X and O, so it's good to have him. Thank you so much, dude.
Hey,
had a good time.
It's been a lot of fun. Listen, we appreciate all you fans out there for tuning in. Tell your friends about us. If you can't join us here live at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, you know, we're always on demand right there on LLhoops, right?
LLhoops, we got a link. I got pick and roll. I have a category, so if we just click the category under media, you can see all the old ones. We only have one old one,
yeah.
But we'll have them all.
We'll have everything archived.
We have eight scheduled.
So everybody will be able to see, you know, like 6 weeks from now, who we thought was going to make the playoffs and who isn't, or vice versa.
Well, and we'll get our friend Andy in here, and he'll make some predictions on the LL. I know he will.
Right.
So,
we got to have him in here.
He'll do that.
And streaming Friday, we've got Elko and LS, right?
Elko and LS.
And then I've got Manheim Central and Lancaster Catholic Girls. And then Saturday, I'll be working with my buddy Bob Long, and we're going to have Reading High and Archbishop Wood, and we'll have a link up on the website. Which is going to be a lot of fun. So a lot of great basketball. Just, you know, check out LLhoops, a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information. All right, for my man,
Thank you,
Del
buddy.
Jackson.